Hi, I'm Dr. Singhania from Singhania Clinic, and I'm here to talk to you about medication for ADHD. ADHD is one of the commonest developmental problems in children and can range from anywhere from 4 to 16% depending on which studies you look at. It affects the child's attention and ability to sit still and concentrate. It can affect the child's ability to learn. It can affect a child's social interactions and of course behavior. It's very important to note that ADHD has many different types, and it's important to diagnose which type of ADHD your child has. Drugs form an integral part of the treatment. I do not say that drugs are the only form of treatment, but they do form an important part of the treatment, particularly in older children, in children who have significant learning problems, etc. We use medication after a complete diagnosis and assessment has been done, and then after a discussion with the parents, we decide whether a medication is the right way to go. Unfortunately, use of medication has been fraught with difficulties. The internet abounds with all these uninformed opinions which are not necessarily true, which harbor unnecessary fears in parents. So it's important to go to recognized sites for ADHD before deciding not to treat your child with medication. It's also important to understand the underlying processes which cause ADHD. We do know that the neurotransmitters, particularly the dopamine and the norepinephrine, are affected in this common developmental problem. And though the brain makes adequate neurotransmitters, the release and use of these neurotransmitters are affected. So how do these medications help? They block the reuptake of these neurotransmitters, and they allow the neurotransmitters, which are the messengers of various facts in the brain. So they allow the neurotransmitters or the neuromessengers to remain for a longer time in the synapse so that the messages can pass. Medicines are also from herbs and plants. Some of them are very useful, like the pycnogen, which helps with attention. We also look at the minerals like zinc, iron, which help in producing dopamine and which are very important for attention control. Also, magnesium can reduce hyperreactivity and hyperactivity. But apart from natural forms, medication actually has changed the face of ADHD, and methylphenidate, which is a well-known psychostimulant known as Ritalin, is known to improve concentration and help the child learn more, sit more. There are many different kinds of psychostimulants. The most effective one can be selected for your child. There are non-stimulant medications as well for ADHD, like atomoxetine, which works mainly on the norepinephrine, and this is also very useful. We also talk about medicines for comorbid conditions, which means associated problems with ADHD. We know that 70% of children with ADHD have other mental problems like anxiety, depression, mood problems, or things like ODD, which is oppositional defiance disorder or conduct disorder. Like, these children are very difficult. Calmer child is more able to sit in class, follow instructions, and learn. There are some misunderstandings about medication. The most important being that the child will get addicted. I've yet to see a child who is addicted to Ritalin or Concerta or even atomoxetine. Sure, methylphenidate and all these medications, they are crushed, and sometimes drug addicts will introduce it in their venous system through needles. But a child with ADHD doesn't get addicted to these medications. Child will be drugged and will be dazed and sleepy is another myth, and actually it's a stimulant, so it calms the child down, but it does not make them sleepy because it's a stimulant. It's like coffee, so it does not make them dazed or sleep. Another common myth is that it will damage the child's brain. To tell you the truth, studies have shown that it in fact improves the child's structure of the brain. It increases connections, and it helps the pruning, and it helps in the functioning of the brain. And as the child becomes better at studies, social interaction, and behavior, stress levels go down, and then again that helps to improve the brain functioning and structure. Side effects of the drugs and medicines do occur, like any other. In the stimulant ones, the most important is its impact on sleep and appetite. The atomoxetine, the non-stimulant medications, have no such effect and are somewhat slower but safer to in action. Medicines don't cure the condition, they manage the condition. So it's something like insulin, which you give for diabetes. Of course, we don't need to give medication lifelong, but we do need to give it during the time the child is studying. Some of them may need it all through university and college as well. But others, we try it for 3 years. We see how the child is doing. We take them off the medication, and if they're coping, you don't need to continue with them. Another myth is only severe cases need medication. This is not true. Even the mild and moderate cases can benefit with medication. We don't like to use medication on very young preschool kids, where the first line of treatment would be parent effectiveness training, but medication is an important part of treatment. No other treatment needed. That's also a wrong understanding. Medication helps the child, but certainly helping the child with social skills, with coping skills, helping parents in learning more effective techniques in behavior management are also important. Why do medications not work? Well, about 85% of the children will respond to medication, but there are 15% who don't. Sometimes we give incorrect medication. That means a stimulant is given in presence of, say, childhood bipolar disorder or in presence of anxiety, because then it can increase anxiety. Sometimes it's given an incorrect dose, or it's not tried long enough. Atomoxetine can take anywhere from 3 weeks to 3 months to start acting. And then other modalities are not undertaken. That means that, once the parent gives the medication, they think there is no other help needed, but accommodations in the classroom are very important. Teacher management skills are very important. If a child has any learning problems, dyslexia, then treatment of these are also very important. I'd like to end this talk with some case reports. The names have been, of course, changed. Rodney is a 5-year-old boy with severe aggressive behavior, and he's been expelled from several schools. Evaluation showed above average intelligence, but he also had dyslexia and juvenile or childhood bipolar disorder. The child had been tried on Ritalin in the past, and it just worsened the problem because the bipolar aspect of the diagnosis was ignored, but once appropriate medication and therapy were given, the child improved dramatically. Another case report of Harji, an 8-year-old boy with moderate intellectual deficiency. He was going to special school but had been expelled because of his behavior. Parents had tried a lot of behavior and language and learning therapies, but all of these had been unsuccessful because Harji couldn't sit still and follow instructions. But with appropriate medications, giving him Ritalin and Concerta improved his behavior and learned. If you're seeking help, please book an appointment at Singhania Clinic by calling 04-4298-498 or email us at reception@singhaniaclinic.ae. Thank you for watching.